Hi ladies, Amanda from the Queen of Lean, and today I wanted to take you through how to effectively strengthen through your core. Now, this is something that's really important to work on, especially if you've had a C-section birth or if you have any type of back injury, or basically to increase your strength, because a lot of our strength comes from our core muscles, but often people don't know how to use them, how to activate them, and it can be a little bit confusing. So this video today, I wanted to help clear that confusion and to teach you a really effective way to strengthen them. So I've got my coach Cara here with you, and she's going to demonstrate exactly what to do. So if we start off by lying down on a mat, and there's a couple of different levels that you can do with core activation. So I'm going to take you through these. So basically you want to initially learn how to activate through these muscles and just get that mind-muscle connection happening. So the best way to do this is to find your hip bone and to place your hand. So if you place your hand on your hip bone and then push in a centimeter and then down a centimeter, and then just push in and palpitate into the muscle a little bit. Then with your other hand, what you're going to do is just slide that into your lower back. So when you're doing this, this is going to give you the feedback of whether you're activating your core correctly. So with core activation, if you think of it, there's a couple of different cues, but if you think of it as doing a zip up, so you want to lift from your pelvic floor right up to your diaphragm, you should feel when you're activating through these muscles that your belly button draws into the ground and that you get skinnier. So what Cara will feel is as she activates her core, she's going to feel pressure in the hand that's in her lower back, and it should start to squash her lower back or squash her hand, and then she should feel on this front hand that's near her hip that the muscles tighten and that it lowers. So that's really important to get that feeling. Now, when you initially do this, it's quite challenging to breathe at the same time. So you might feel like you're just kind of like underwater and you're holding your breath, and it's quite challenging. So you want to learn how to activate this, but to continue breathing. So keeping that in tight. So I'm just going to come in and check that she's correctly activating. So draw your belly button down towards the floor. Good. And she's got that tight. Beautiful. So this would be step one, just making sure that you're activating, that you feel like you can breathe over it, that you know what's going on, and you're keeping that tightness. So with your core muscles, another thing that might help to think about is that it acts like a corset that wraps the whole way around. So when you're activating correctly, it should feel like a corset or like a cylinder where all the muscles have a co-contraction and they're all switching on. So once you've got that point where you know that you're activating, then we want to go to the next level. So she is going to start to integrate a leg slide out. Now the trick with this is not to lose that activation. So, and to be really disciplined and strict with your reps and making sure that you're keeping that really tight. So what I'm going to get Cara to do is to breathe out through her mouth, draw her belly button in tighter, feel that pressure in that hand in her lower back, and then to really, really slowly drive that leg out, keep it in contact with the floor, and then breathe in through your nose as you come back, and make sure that you keep it tight. Now, what you're looking for is, if you lose the core activation, you'll feel on this hand that there's a slight push up through the muscles. Now, that means that your outer unit is switching in, which is what we don't want. We want to try and get your transverse abdominis to work. So she might also feel on the other hand that the tightness through her lower back has slightly lost, she's slightly lost that tightness. So making sure that you really reactivate as you slide that leg. Then we're going to alternate legs, breathe out, keep it in contact with the ground, keep it really slow and controlled, and then come back in. So to strengthen through your core and to make it through this level 1 process, you should be able to do 3 sets of 20 reps quite comfortably, keeping that activated and being able to breathe over the top of it. So when you're doing this exercise correctly, it is super challenging. So that's our level 1. Then level 2 will be exactly the same, making sure that the core is activated, and then we're going to lift our knees up. So just going, one leg at a time. So go back down onto the floor and then keeping it activated and just lift this leg up to my knee, to my hand, good, and then come back down and then switch over to the other side. So exactly the same, this would be level 2. Then level 3 is if she brings both legs up to this starting point, holds that activation, and then she's going to alternate legs coming down to the ground. So just going heel to the ground, good, and then coming back up, and then other leg, good, and back. Then the 4th level, the final most challenging level, is going both legs at the same time. So down and then coming back up. Beautiful, and relax. Cool. So what you might find is just even connecting with that muscle or doing the level 1 exercises are really, really challenging. That's perfectly normal to feel that. But as long as you're strict with your reps and you're keeping that tightness, then I find that this is really effective for building up that core strength. So this is more of a rehab exercise and strengthening your core to get things switching on. When you're actually lifting weights, it's a slightly different activation where you do this kind of core activation and then brace with it. But this is a great point to start with if you know that your core is weak, if you've had back injuries, if you've had a C-section birth, and this is something that you struggle with. So I hope you found this video very helpful, and we'll see you very soon.